So in this video, we're going to remove the outer fairing and take a look inside, and then we'll reinstall it. I'm doing another video on putting a graphene coating on the bike, which is why I had to take the fairing off. But I think this is a great video of how to do it. So the deflector is just snapped on here. So there's a tab down here in this corner, and then there's a body clip right here. And we have the same on the other side. So you're going to be pulling and pushing on this. So I put some painter's tape underneath it because you're going to be wiggling this around. I also grabbed a body tool, but these can, mark the edges, but we may need to use that. We'll see. So we're gonna push. So I know there's a tab here, so I'm pushing down there, and then there's a body clip here. Okay, so what worked best is I ran my fingernail down here where this tab is, and I just pushed, and then that popped the body clip out. Now we'll go to the other side. So this side's much trickier because you got to deal with this vent adjuster. So I'm going to kind of put it in the middle, and then we have this side is free, so we can use that to our advantage. And again, we gotta push that body tab down and then get that clip out. And there we go. I will say that's scary. So we're dealing with the tab, which is the hard part. It requires the force here. And then there's a tab here. So there you go. That part is removed. I taped this up here just out of precaution. It's not the most fun experience, certainly nerve-wracking. But now this is free. So now we need to remove the windshield mount. It's a T25. There are 3 screws. With the windshield mounts removed, this whole part will just now slide up and off. These little rubber tabs here hold the windshield on, they slide off. So don't lose them, you'll need them. So this exposes our screws. So we have this screw on each side, and then we have these guys here, which grab the outer fairing and the inner fairing. So these are T27. And these are T25. I'm going to leave this one in just to keep the fairing secure. And when we have our hands ready to pull it off, we'll take that one out last. So to remove the speakers, there's a body clip up top and another one on the side, and then 2 tabs at the bottom. So you're going to start at the top, and you're going to pull that forward, and then you want to give a little pressure, work your fingers around. Always a little scary, and there comes the bottom clip. There are 2 little tabs here at the bottom that are real easy to break. If you note, that one's missing because I broke it. The key is don't start at the bottom. Don't try to pull at the bottom. Start up here at that corner, get that body tab out, and then pull this body tab out, and it'll come right off. That will reveal the screw that we need to remove to get the outer fairing off. Right there, T27. So just like on the old Road Glides, you have to remove the bottom one, which attaches to the outer fairing here. The top one you do not have to remove. We're back to T25. So now we're ready to remove the fairing. I have that one last T27 up here holding it in place. I have a paper towel here because I took the guards off. You don't have to do that, but I'm doing another video right now of how to coat a motorcycle with a graphene coating. Watch for that. So I have this covered because there's a metal carrier underneath that attaches to, and I just want to make sure as we pull this off, we don't run across there and scratch anything. So we'll pull that last T27 out, and I think the whole fairing will come off. All right, I'm going to grab down here because we're going to want to pull this away and on both sides. You're just going to kind of bear hug it, and then we'll start pulling. I'm pulling those parts a little bit, and then I'm going to curl up towards me, and the fairing is off. So first look inside the outer fairing. So my first impression is there's just no wires, right? They've eliminated so much of the wiring. A lot of it is gone. There's a lot of room in here. You can see the Rockford Fosgate amp dominates the space. Over here is your AM/FM antenna, which is cool. Look how it wraps around. That's your AM/FM. I noticed there's an antenna on this side that looks like Sirius XM, but I'm pretty sure that's high definition radio because I'm not seeing a Sirius XM option for this bike yet. Got a part up here. I'm not sure what that one is. I was noticing the company name of the screen. So it's Vistion, made in Mexico. And there's the website, vistiondocs.com. So we'll be checking that out. You know me, I like to nerd up on the documents. So impressive. This headlight module is all one module. So there's a bunch of screws to get this thing off. But it's just one giant computer module, right? Looks expensive to replace, so try not to break it. I think this module here is part of that headlight controller. I could be wrong, but I think that's part of it. But really simple design. So also, this was really easy to remove. Everything is just torqued in real softly, and there's not that many screws. It's the same pattern as on the old bike. Really impressed with the design. Way less wiring, frankly, not complicated, and it looks real easy to service, but those parts do look expensive. So when you reinstall the fairing, this little bar here, this is where that side guard mounts, and I took that off right to coat it. So it has a rubber mount here, and then a bolt that goes through the front. And when we put the cover on, we have to connect at 2 points. So there's a joining point here and a joining point here. So the cover is going to slide on and it's going to catch on these two. So you're going to have to use your hands and push it inward to connect. So one thing I noticed just in test fitting is it rubs on this surface. So you need to pull it apart. But as you're trying to make this connection point, you're rubbing this surface. So if you have the guard on, the cover, you'd be rubbing that. So I think it's smart to take this off or at least put a towel over it while you're guiding that fairing back on. So here are the two clips. We got to try to get these to line up. So we're going to have to do some maneuvering with the panel as we go on. So I put a couple shop dowels over the scratchy parts. So we're going to guide our way in. We're going to go kind of downward. And we're just going to go really slow. You want to watch the antenna over here on this side. And you're kind of going down. See how I'm keeping it down. And I'm just trying to get the front kind of lined up. Or I should say, I'm trying to get the top lined up. And guiding her in real slow. And then you have to push these clips in here to get it to connect. So there's that side. So you can see on this side we didn't make the connection. So I'm going to separate it and I'm going to push in, and then we got those two to lock on. So now I have these two connections locked on. So this is attached and it's attached up here. And you can see that, that all that sharp stuff is down there. So as you're guiding this in, it'd be real easy to get this lower panel scratch on that surface. So I think some sort of protection is a good idea there. So the panel's on. And we're going to attach it with one of these screws just to hold it in place. I can let go of it here. It seems pretty stable, but you know the rule. If you leave it sitting there, watch it pop off and fall. So you want to immediately put a screw in. So these are the little guys that go in there, and they have that smaller T25. So we're just gonna run that in. and spin your screw back and forth. You want it to go straight in. So this one's kind of grabbing. So I'm going to reset. And there we go. Now it spins in totally freely. So if it's ever resisting, do what I did. Back it out. Try it again. It should spin. Look, this is spinning completely freely. If there's resistance there, you've got it not lined up correctly. So now we have a bolt in it. That's not going to come off. So now we can not worry about it so much. And so we'll put the one on the other side, the other T25, and then we're going to connect up here. We're going to put the T27s in on both sides. All right, these are the T27s, they're a little more stout, where it connects the outer to the inner. So I've left these others loose. Just this is going to draw the fairing close, so I want these to be able to move. So everything is loose. So again, I'm backing it in and out till it goes in completely freely. And there's a clip here, right? So we're gonna draw it in. So I'm gonna put a little pressure to push it towards. And then I'm gonna snug this down all the way. So we'll give that a good snug. Again, plastic, clips, hand strength only. And we'll do the other side. With the fairing all fitted and secure forward, we can now torque these down. These are again back to a T25. Again, just hand strength. Now we can put the top cover on of the aerodynamics piece. These are little hooks and they grab the windshield and they slide in here. So you got to slide those in. They have a little tape in there to kind of hold them for you. Just dropped one. So these slide in, and you'll need to have those in place before you slide it on here. With these in place, we'll slide it on. And then we have the 3 holes for the windshield holder. All right, so the windshield holder has 3. These are back to T25. So we're back and forth from T27 to T25. We'll get these started. Again, they should roll right in without any resistance. If they have any resistance, back it out and start again as I just did. We'll keep it loose because we may need to move the part around a bit to get the other 2 started. So that one's in there really deep, so you can see how I use the tool to just kind of guide it. And it's spinning freely in. So we can push on the part to get it centered where we want it, and then we'll go ahead and snug it down. Again, I'm just using hand strength on all of these plastic parts. Very little torque. And there's our windshield trim. We'll do the same on the other side. All right, so I'll put the trim back on. It really holds this part in place. So we'll do that. There's the 2 body clips here, and they're just gonna pop in, and these 2 tabs here. We also have this hook on the outside that's gonna clamp in as well. So we may need to maneuver a little bit. I hate working with plastic. This was a nightmare to remove. So there's a tab under there, and we're trying to get that, and then we're gonna line this up. And then we'll come over to this side, we'll do the same thing. So I'll lift up on the corner here a little. So there's a tab here that we've got to get underneath. So we're going to lift up on that and get that in first. You have the body clip in the way, you have this mechanism in the way. So we're going to turn that down. And then now we have that clip in. And we'll go back the other side and make sure its clip is in. Line it up. We'll push that side in. We'll come back here again, tweaking, pulling. This guy's in the way here, so let's turn him. We'll lower him, give us a little more room. So we got that. And then we'll go underneath and clip. And we'll give little gentle pushes, but you can see how easily that snaps in. So we have 2 more to go. So this is a T27 through the speaker to the outer fairing. And then we have a T25, the bottom bolt of the aero deflector down here. So with this bolt, you want to make sure you pushed in on the fairing because that's got to connect. So I think it went right through there. I don't think we had the fairing. So we're going to push that in. I'm going to start it by hand. And there I can feel it grab the fairing now. So I'm pushing in the fairing as you screw in. Again, no real tightness here at all, just kind of gentle hand strength. So that grabbed the fairing now in that corner. It's nice and secure. Almost there. So when installing your speaker cover, there's a rubber gasket that goes around, and you can see they notch in there. So you want to make sure that's all in place before you go to snap it on. And then remember, we have a body clip here and we have a body clip here. So we'll start by hooking the bottom clips and then popping these 2 in. And the body clips go here and over here. And then just simply push in. You'll hear it click. And there you go. So the last step is to install the windshield. I changed mine out. Video coming on that soon. But really interesting what's inside that fairing. There's quite a bit of room. The audio geeks are going to have a great time with that space. Not too hard to uninstall or install. But man, this plastic, popping this off is quite scary. And I'd like to see that redesigned. Plus, I think the surface maybe should be painted. It looks really odd, especially with the new windshield, right? It just doesn't look quite right. So, early impressions, way less wiring and way more space. Way less complexity behind that fairing, but those parts do look expensive. Until next time, in the friction zone.